if I can look at questions as well. I guess I've never really done that before.
It's possible, but just so you know, we are live. So
Hey, just getting some behind the scenes.
I obviously didn't do a good job there. I just got the notification that we're live. So that means that nobody probably saw that first part.
It's okay, but it's recording. So someone who later on will be like, why were they not prepared? But
hey,
actually, we're prepping.
At least you didn't say anything you wouldn't want the world to know. So welcome back, Kelly.
Hi, Scotty.
Thanks again for joining me. Today, we're going to talk about us. So that's fun. Yeah, I think we've not obviously done this before. And was your suggestion is a great suggestion to just get, basically have a little getting to know us session for anybody who, has watched us in the past and wants to understand our journey, so to speak, and kind of how and or why we got into recruiting and are still in it. I don't want to give too much away. We'll do this just kind of alternating questions, right? And then, we'll both answer those questions. But anybody who I haven't yet seen where we are with regard to people who've joined us, so I'm not sure if anybody's watching currently or how many people, if you're with us today and you want to know questions, it's an Ask Me Anything format. Please be kind. But questions today will be about Kelly, primarily, of course, and me, and just anything about us and our career journey in recruiting. So per usual, I've got Kelly Sanchez, the head of talent acquisition at DigiCert with me. And as you know, I'm Scotty John. So yeah, let me navigate to the right place just to make sure I can, monitor whether or not we do get any questions, Kelly. If you want to lead off with the first question, we're both going to answer, though, we can start there.
Awesome. So hi, everyone. I'm Kelly. And usually when we do this, we have like a icebreaker kind of get to know you question. Like Scotty mentioned, this is a little bit different. You're getting to know us. So we're going to have multiple questions this time around. However, the first one that we wanted to start off with is, what was your first job? So I can definitely, like, looking back, I'm like nanny, like I was always a babysitter and stuff, taking care of like my neighbor's kids. But when I think like first job is when I was 16, was getting like a paycheck. I was a cashier at this company that was like wannabe Cafe Rio called Zoza's. So I don't even know if you guys remember that, but I was a cashier for them for a couple of months. And I started the job, and then 3 days into it, my manager got fired. So that was kind of insane and kind of crazy. I ended up staying, and it was fun. It was really great people. And it looks like we lost Scotty. So yeah, so he'll go next and share his first job as recruiting as well. You're on mute.
Thanks, Kelly. I think I must, am I back?
You're back. I can hear you.
I must have too many applications and or Chrome tabs open is kind of what my computer had just informed me. So yeah, hopefully we didn't lose our stream and we're still live right now. But yeah, to your point, with regard to my first job ever was anybody who knows me at all, this won't be a surprise at all, but I worked for the County Ice Center in Murray, Utah. I was like, just, I don't even know what you call it. I was one of those people that skates around with the yellow jacket during public skates. And I, did a lot of sharpening skates, just, kind of worked at the ice rink at the lowest possible level you could. So also, Ryan Elliott, if you're watching, sorry to say, one of my favorite jobs ever. Because anytime there was open ice, I got to just skate on it. So anyway, yeah, that's thanks for leading us off here. I do have, I am kind of monitoring our feed. Hopefully it's working here. And so any questions anybody has today, again, we're talking about just our career in recruiting, our journey, so to speak. And I've got Kelly Sanchez, the head of talent acquisition with DigiCert, my biweekly conversation partner. So yeah, let's go to the second question, which is Kelly, this is going to be tough to keep short, at least for me, but can you give us just kind of an overview of your recruiting journey, right? How you got into it and as quickly as possible, as succinct as you can, how you got to where you are today.
I was recruited. Does that work? Is that simple enough? Honestly, it was just through connections. I've always been social, always been talking about, hey, come work with me, come do this. I didn't know recruiting was an industry or even existed. And then I had a friend mention, hey, we're hiring, interviewed, and that's how recruiting started for me. So little did I know that I was already recruiting people in previous roles until I actually got into the industry. Does that give, are you good?
I mean, I guess that was quicker than I expected, Kelly, to be honest.
All right, I have you on a timer now, so let's see if you can beat that.
No kidding. So yeah, to your point, it's funny. It's the same thing, right? A friend of mine from Utah State, actually, I'll just give him a shout out, Pat Giles. Shout out to Pat Giles, who's still one of the best in this business and still doing it as well. Mm-hmm. Currently, I think the head of talent acquisition over at BIT. But anyway, Pat Giles gave me a call and said, hey, I think that you'd be good at this job. And he told me about it. And same thing. I was like, what? That's a thing? Like, that's an industry? How does that even, right? And of course, as we know, it's like a huge industry. And
it's been around for years. Yeah.
But, like you, Kelly, you and I, obviously, we worked together back at Tech Systems, started our careers there. And you moved over to the talent acquisition side and have never looked back. I actually worked for you at CHG for a little bit, and then that was how I got into talent acquisition for a while, because I did my stint, so to speak, in talent acquisition. For anybody who doesn't know what that means, referring to specifically to corporate recruiting. So an internal recruiter versus what I do now, which is third-party recruiting. And I moved back over to the dark side, quote unquote, back to third-party recruiting. So yeah, here kind of come full circle and back in technical recruiting with KēSTA I.T, which is, a firm that we've got a few of the old tech folks on. So anyway, yeah, that's my career journey. All right. What's our next question here?
Yeah. So did you want me to elaborate on mine now? I feel like it was too short.
It was. You didn't tell anybody about the fact that you grew up the ranks and now you're like leading a function. I was totally expecting all of that. So you caught me off guard when you wrapped up quick.
Well, you said to keep it quick. Okay. So I will continue on then from you did mention that, hey, I started at Tech Systems, was recruited, went to CHG as a recruiter, grew into leadership there. And then currently in my role as a leader leading the team at DigiCert globally. So it's been fun. So that is still short, but there's a current update.
You're not going to say it, so I will say it. You lead people in, you said globally, but you lead people in all different countries. You've got recruiters on, I don't know if I wouldn't say every single time zone, but many of them. And yeah, it's you're kind of a big deal. So anyway.
Yeah, shout out to Gino. He's in Cape Town, and Mohan, he's in India. Yeah. They're out there. They're sleeping now, I think. Yeah.
So again, just anybody who's just joined us, want to welcome you. Thanks so much for joining me and Kelly Sanchez, as we just learned, the head of talent acquisition over at DigiCert. We learned a little bit about what that means. Today, we're talking about our career journey in recruiting, and just basically, it was a good suggestion from Kelly to maybe pause and have a getting to know you session, so to speak. So if anybody watching has any questions, please feel free to drop them into the comments. These are questions. It's really an Ask Me Anything, anything related to recruiting. But specifically today, we're kind of talking about our backgrounds and career journeys. So feel free to ask any questions that you have in the comments. All right, Kelly. So the next thing that, sorry, that's your question. I almost tried to take.
How dare you? No, we're good. So next question. So what has fundamentally changed about our work when we first started until now?
Yeah. So fundamentally changed. It's interesting because, I think since the beginning of this industry, I don't know that there's been too much fundamental change. You and I obviously have mentors and know people that are still recruiting today who started with a phone book and a landline, right?
Yeah.
I would say the thing that seems to me to have fundamentally changed is just the way the space is viewed. Because again, I think, and frankly, I was brand new to the corporate world. I didn't know much about anything. There was probably many functions in business I was unfamiliar with at that time, but it seems to me like there's been really an embracing of talent acquisition and recruiting, the function. It seems like it's carved out of space. It kind of used to sit in HR and now it's apart from it. That to me seems like the most fundamental change from when we started versus now. I mean, when we started, a lot of our customers were HR generalists that were expected to handle employee relations and oh, by the way, can you do the recruiting too, right? Where you'd post a job and you'd get applicants, and that was kind of that was it, right? That's how it worked. So that'd be my thought. I'd be curious though to hear what your thought is on that question.
Yeah, I'm the same way with you. It's more how it's evolved from an HR function to now. And the one thing that you kind of mentioned is, yeah, we receive applications and that's the people that apply. That's not the philosophy now. Like recruiting, we have to go out, we have to do outreach and source. There's so much more to recruiting than what is traditionally thought about that people don't see or understand. And I think that is huge. And I think now it's becoming relevant and more seen visibility just due to the market and how competitive it is to find talent. So recruiters, it's our time to shine.
Yeah, as our former colleague and friend Jeff Platt likes to say, this is the year of the recruiter. So we'll have to have Platt on someday to
absolutely. I was
explain what that means exactly. All right, very good. So I guess that just begs the question, Kelly, in your opinion, like what will change? And this question I want to kind of frame up specifically as it relates to technology. So, we had LinkedIn when we started, but technology in the recruiting space and the talent acquisition space has definitely changed. It's going to continue to evolve. What do you think will change about what we're doing today? Try and see into the future here, your crystal ball. What will change about recruiting specifically as it relates to the technological advances that we're going to see?
Oh, that's a good question. I think just the connection of the resume, the LinkedIn, like right now you're seeing it. You can just apply by clicking on LinkedIn versus just your resume or filling out a full application. I think the process is going to be super short in the future. Keep it concise, keep it simple. You're seeing so many tools in recruiting connecting already to HRS payroll and all of that. It's not just something separate as it was before. So yeah, technology is definitely a game changer. The other thing I'll say too is like little things like scheduling. I remember we had to schedule our own interviews. Now it's all integrated into a system. It's just click away. The candidate can look at your calendar. So just these little things to help in the process to make it seamless. Oh my gosh, that is going to be huge for our recruiters to be more efficient and keep track of things.
Yeah, to your point, I think the word that comes to mind for me is efficiency, right? There's just going to be more and more efficiencies created. There are people who think that recruiters are going to go away because, AI is going to take over sourcing. and bots are going to take over outreach. And then, individuals that are, like you said earlier, you and I today, we do a lot of outreach, right? We reach out to folks that look like a good fit for the jobs we're trying to fill. And we ask them if they're open to hearing about what we have. There are people who think that that's no longer going to be a person doing that, but rather some actual, an actual machine. So to your point, and maybe this is getting ahead of myself on our next question, but I don't necessarily see that, at least not in the near term. I think to your point, it's going to be about creating efficiencies, and hopefully it's going to be about shortening the process. I also think that from a technology standpoint, anyone who's not doing this today, and this is less about recruiting and more about marketing in general and branding, but making sure that the companies are leveraging their digital footprint, so to speak, and really, reaching out to people and creating community, right? Web3, if, a lot of folks that are probably watching us are probably familiar with what that means, but what that's all about is community, right? So that's kind of what I see changing with regard to technology is digital marketing and creating efficiencies. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. It's a tough one because obviously none of us have a crystal ball, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, what's the next question we have on our list?
So similar, or what will stay the same with technology? I think Zoom interviews are here to stay. Like, it's going to be a combination in what's flexible. Everything that you currently are able to do through a system as well will stay the same. Got nothing else coming to mind.
Well, and perhaps, I just, when I hear that question, I think of it a little bit differently. Real quick, Kelly, I just want to make sure I mentioned to anyone who's just joined that we're talking today about our career journeys and some of the things. We're basically talking about recruiting. Some of our opinions is getting to know you a little bit more, and specifically as it relates to our careers in the recruiting space. So for anybody joining, thanks for joining. Feel free to pop any questions that you have for me or Kelly Sanchez, the head of talent acquisition over at DigiCert, into the comments, and we'd be happy to address them. Also, they don't have to be about our career journey or about recruiting. They can really be about any question you want to ask to career recruiters. But back to the question that you just asked about, what will stay the same? When I hear that question, the way I read it is like, okay, so technology's obviously disrupting so many different parts of work and life, et cetera. I mean, we might be living in the metaverse soon, right, Kelly?
Yeah. Right.
Might be our avatars. I'd be happy to create an avatar rather than have to look at my face in Zoom videos all day. Anyway, but yeah, I think what will stay the same is the people aspect. Like I mentioned, I don't see smart robots going out and sourcing and then engaging with candidates. I think it's going to continue to be a people function. I just don't see robots being able to replace humans in terms of building relationships and doing the things that really matter in the recruiting space, the things that make recruiters, make or break a good recruiter, right? The ability to build relationships, the ability to listen and understand what people are looking for, and then match them to the correct job at your organization, or in my case, at one of our several clients. So that's kind of the way I hear that question. And that's my answer to it.
Yeah, no, I like it. And I agree with you that recruiters, we have a special place, especially with that human touch and interaction with our candidates, our hiring managers. That's irreplaceable.
We're biased, Kelly. We should be clear to the audience here that
because think about it. Like, if you get a message from someone, you can tell that it's a robot, or even a text message, that's an automated message. You're not going to respond back to it. Like, I don't. But if I can tell it's like a random phone number and they're trying to be personalized, I'm like, okay, I think that's a human. Maybe I will be a little bit more engaging or try to respond back. So,
right. And I mean, to your point, reading someone's LinkedIn profile and addressing something that they wrote. I mean, again, it's not that robots won't be able to do that eventually. Someday they may be, but they can't then jump onto a call and understand. I mean, again, maybe I'm underestimating the pace of technological change in front of us. But I think we'll be living in the metaverse for a while before we get to that point. So,
yeah, then we'll all be robots.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. All right. So next question. Okay. I mean, I think we got through this relatively quickly, and we had plans, built in for any questions that we got from the audience. Again, just so you guys know, anyone who's watching right now, Kelly Sanchez, head of talent acquisition at DigiCert, and me chatting a little bit about our careers in recruiting, why we do it, what we like about it, and some of the predictions we have for the future. Last question that we have prepared here, Kelly, and then we can maybe talk about a little, some other things if we still have some extra time. But what advice do you have for any new recruiters or, people that are aspiring to make the career change or get into the recruiting space?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say be curious and open-minded. There's always the fundamentals of what recruiting is and how to do things. However, I would say be open, figure out your style, and be true to who you are. Because there's a billion of us out there, but there's a reason why someone's working with you, and that's your thing. So keep it. It may not work for someone else, but that's okay. So don't try to change it. Be you. That's my advice. Awesome.
I love that. That's amazing advice. My advice hopefully isn't cynical. It's a little, it's definitely a little, I'm coming at this from a different direction as well. But my advice to anybody who is new to recruiting or aspiring to get into this space is just expect that it's going to be a lot hard. Like everyone tells you how hard it is. But it really is. And so here's the thing, like I'd say, I don't remember what the statistic is. I saw it cited on LinkedIn recently, but, most recruiters, they don't last a year. In fact, most of them don't last 6 months because they get into this job and it's not exactly what they thought it was. And it's hard and it's kind of not fun at times. And you look at, there's a lot of times where you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, this is so hard, right? So my advice is just to know that's coming and be prepared to, that there's a reason why those of us that get past that first year, a lot of us stay forever, right? I'm not going to date us here, Kelly, but you and I have been doing this for a while. And look at our LinkedIn profile to figure out how long. And, we know plenty of people who we swear by this career path, even though it's still hard. I mean, I'm not going to say that even as a veteran, but you get better at it, obviously. And you, just expect that it's going to get really hard but stick with it because, now I'll say I'm biased, but it's an amazing career. It's super rewarding. It's fun, it's hard, but it's awesome. So I think that pretty much does. I mean, we could wrap up now. We're about 25 minutes in, unless you want to hit me with a random question we didn't discuss beforehand and see how I handle it. I'm willing.
Are you? Okay. Well, let's see if I can find a good one.
All right. I'll give you a second. Just say to those of you watching, thanks again for watching today. You've got me, Scotty John, and Kelly Sanchez, the head of talent acquisition at DigiCert, my bi-weekly conversation partner on these lives. We're talking about recruiting specifically, our career journeys, and just what we think about the space. So it's a little bit of a getting to know you. And Kelly's about to ask me a question that we didn't talk about ahead of time. So she'll be interested.
Right. Well, we can go two ways, but I think that this one will help no matter if you're not in a recruiting background or anything.
Okay.
And just with the environment being so crazy busy. So what do you do to provide balance within your work life and your personal life?
I love it. Okay. Well, first of all, I've started to think about that a little differently. Rather than thinking about it as a work-life balance, I tend to think of it as a work-life harmony, because our what we do, and there's plenty of other I guess career paths that are similar to this, and this is a blessing and a curse. We're certainly lucky to be able to work from wherever we want to work. I mean, we're we're part of the workforce that can work from home, which is fantastic. But if you have a smartphone, you're always going to be, you can always be on, right? So rather, for some people, and everybody's different. Some people they want to wrap up their day. They want to put the phone in a different room and just be checked out or whatever, turn off all notifications, whatever it is. For me personally, I don't mind being kind of on, but what I do is, I try to, first of all, I spend there's two parts of my time outside of work that I try and segment. So first thing, for me personally, to be like my best self, so to speak, I try to carve out time generally early in the mornings before my family wakes up, to do something. So whether that's go for like we call it a dawn patrol ski tour. Anybody who's, familiar with backcountry skiing in the Wasatch will be familiar with that. So get up early and go skiing before work. Obviously that's only a wintertime activity. But I also, what in the summer, whether it's a run or, I still play, men's league hockey. It's, bunch of old guys. But so, and believe it or not, there are pickup games in the mornings before work as well. So that's kind of one. The other thing I do is I do put my phone away, and from, closing time, whenever I finish my day until my kids go to bed, I try to be 100% present, because they're young and I just want to spend time. And I think, kind of multitasking on your phone while your kids are trying to have a conversation with you, for me at least, is not at all valuable. So I try to shut it down for a couple of hours every evening. So that was long-winded. That's probably the longest winded answer I've given so far, but that was a great question.
I should have put a timer on that one.
What about you, Kelly? How, flip it back to you. Same thing. I think I know the answer, but I'd be curious what you'll say.
On how I balance work and life.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely work. You have to be mindful at it, because I feel like any job, and especially recruiting, it could be a 24/7 job if you let it. So yes, we have the standard schedule 8 to 5, but in the mornings I like to go work out. And so sometimes there's like a later start to my day, and that's okay. And then I will work a little bit later in the evening. Working globally has, made me more aware of that, because I could easily put in like a 15-hour day, just my normal day here, but then my meetings at night. So I do put in placement holders within my calendar to make sure that I have a break for myself to go and step away from it, because I can easily just be there at my desk. And so that's what I do. I have the mornings, similar to you, Scotty, to myself, to do what I need to do. And then the evenings I disconnect. And I feel like I'm better at the phone thing though. I can easily just like leave it to the side and just connect and stuff. But I get it though. I feel like I'm not going to call out my sister, but she's kind of on it a lot. But
well, yeah, no doubt. It's a tough thing to balance. I don't know. It's definitely something that I think you do have to be cognizant of it. The other thing you're good at is taking time off and going on vacations. Not to say that, frankly, I'm not that good at that, but Do you check out completely when you travel?
For the most part, yes. There was a time where no, I didn't, and it wasn't vacation, not at all.
Right.
But now I definitely do, and if I do check emails and stuff, it's when I'm just sitting there like waiting for whoever's getting ready. It's not like I'm dedicating time. It's just kind of seeing if there's anything urgent. But honestly, I have a kick-ass team, so they have it all handled. We all have each other's back, and so that's awesome too, to have that as well.
No doubt. That's great. Well, very cool. Well, hey, thank you so much again for joining. And thanks everybody who watched today for watching. And we didn't get questions from the audience, but if you have questions about recruiting, about this career path, or frankly, like we've said multiple times, the whole purpose of these conversations is it kind of an ask me anything. We try to put together topics just so there's, something to discuss if we don't get questions. But if you have any questions at all, and if you are interested in recruiting, right, if you want to get into this space as a career, feel free to reach out to Kelly and I. Our DMs are open, quote unquote, here on LinkedIn. And I'm pretty sure, my contact information's on here too. So feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to address questions. KēSTA I.T is hiring. We're always looking for recruiters right now. Our biggest business need is a kind of business development person, like a salesperson for recruiting. If you have any interest in that, reach out. Kelly, I'm sure, you've always got tons of openings at DigiServe, but what are some of the most pressing needs for you today?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of openings, but some of the new ones that have posted are US remote for account executives and a senior manager to lead a team. So cool. If you're interested, you know where to find me as well.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks so much, Kelly, for joining. Thanks everybody for watching. And we look forward to hearing about future topic ideas or any other questions you have. In the meantime, otherwise, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.